What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sith Council. And man, what a show it's going to be today. We're going to do a combination of two things as we lead up to the Book of Boba Fett. The Duel of Fates comic, which I talked about last week on the solo show that I did. I read it, Mike read it, Steph read it, and we're going to go over kind of what could be. But obviously, if you saw the title of this episode, we're also going to rank the Star Wars movies. And before you start, with the pitchforks and the outside of standing around people and holding up signs of how everybody's opinion is wrong, great. This is about how we feel about the movies in general, how we were entertained by them, not what the quality film is. So, if Mark Riley was here, he's going to have a very different list than the three of us. So you probably going to like my list. I'll tell you that right now. Because I'm about to do my list, and I hope you have your list, and I hope you share your list with us. And again, it's about enjoyment of the films, and that's about it. All right, without any further ado, on the day before Spectacular, let's have a spectacular show, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to start the Sith Council, so let's do it.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus, makes you stronger.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Sith Council. I'm me, you are you. Okay, so joining me as always, the Inner Geekdom champion of the world, Mike Kalinowski, with a massive match tomorrow. How you feeling?
Yeah, I do. How am I feeling?
Yeah.
Like we talked a little bit about this. I feel like I've been in an IG studying mode for 9 months now.
Undefeated.
I got that belt back in, May or so? But before that, I had Damon. So the last time I was kind of in this contention with this belt, it was a different thing. I was up for 3 belts.
Yeah.
My head was everywhere. This has been IG focused.
You just locked on IG.
Season.
That's it. Yeah.
That's all it is. So it's like I'm not at that point. Like back then, I was like, okay, I got to watch this movie by then. I got to watch this movie by then. It's like, no, the movies I've watched every single one of them that are in this.
Parker
IG.
was mean mugging you at the club the other night.
He was, man. He was. Usually he comes up and he does magic tricks with me and he does jokes, but he wasn't himself.
Really?
And, hey, I was like,
mean mugging
in the streets.
I was like, come on, man. But hey, you do what you do in a match. And hey, Rachel and I play. We're the best of friends. She's my sister. But before a match, we don't talk. A couple days before we would, of course, talk. But hey, whatever you got to do to get in the match. And
did you mean mug him back?
no,
he's
You smiled and waved?
what I told him, Steph.
I hugged him. What I kiss on the forehead.
What I told him
Patted his
was,
head.
you got to remember that Mike's been in this game for a long time, and that he in 2016 when he started, he was. He's still hungry, but Parker's never won the title. He's never done. He's playing up against the greatest player. Of course, he's going into a big fight. Okay. So, all right. So anyway, that's tomorrow, and if you want to check it out, it's theshmowdownlive.com. I'm sorry, I'm rearranging shots right now as I realize I didn't do the 3 shot. But we're going to be talking about this Trevorrow thing because I sent this to you guys.
Yes, you did.
I think before the break, right?
Yeah.
And you did, but I think it was like the hour after we left the episode 2 weeks ago. We got it. Yeah,
I think so. And I got it from a fan who had sent it over and said, "Take a look at this. This guy, he did this whole comic book thing." And I said to Steph earlier today, "It's depressing because it's like I want to see this movie, And some people were, well, how do you know it would have been good? I don't, but I know that it at least tried to combine what what has followed before him.
Right.
For people, I'm putting the link in the description, so if you want to check it out, you can do exactly that. It's a stupid thing. You see,
look at him multitasking.
I'm trying to do it.
It's doing good. It's amazing.
I'm trying to do it. It's still
an idiot
lopsided.
like you got all tech.
I hope you.
I watched.
Well, fix that. My God, I can't look at that now. My OCD is driving me crazy.
Oh my God.
What, this?
Yeah, my OCD is going
Nothing
crazy
to do
with
about
that.
You can even see it from take it from the corners. You can shrink it from the.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying. So this is
take it from the corners.
all right.
Here,
Stop
take
getting
it
dirty,
from
will you?
the corner.
All right. Okay.
I was watching some interviews with
Yes.
Colin Trevorrow because I was just like reignited because I forget, how he was talking about it in press before.
Yeah.
And even the way he speaks about it is just such a different tone. And I love JJ, but it's more of how you said that JJ is making this film as like a love story or a love letter to Star Wars. Trevorrow was more focused on finalizing the trilogy.
Right.
In a way that was more serious, and I was just like, "Damn!"
Because he did what the other two seemed to be egocentric. To be honest, both JJ and Ryan was ego. Like, I want to make my movie. I'm going to make my movie. Trevorrow goes, well, this is what these 2 humps gave me.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And but the Coruscant stuff
Yeah.
I mean, going back to Coruscant was great, and the idea that it was been run down, and the idea, you know, the tying it into the Rebels thing of Mortis and why Kylo is so far gone. He does turn back in this one, but he's pretty much dead by the time that he does. So how he does it, it works for me. And they're not, you know, and they're not romantically linked.
No, it's more Poe.
Poe
yeah,
is.
That's from the first page.
Because they continued it because it was set up at the end of the second movie.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the end of the second movie. Hi, you don't remember me from the first movie? Well, now I'm going to be romantic interest. And then like, nah, forget that.
Yeah.
Trevorrow goes, no, they're going to be romantic interest. They play him as that kind of Han Solo thing. And Finn has so much more
redemption.
to do.
He's still on a side mission, but it's such a better side mission.
But it combines his side mission with the Stormtrooper. It loops back to Force Awakens, 100%. Where he wakes up and then the other guy wakes up too, and
it gives him way more depth.
And Rose is just like he's like, well, you gave me this character.
I'm going to use her.
I'm going to make her a Star Wars protagonist.
Right.
Rose isn't the problem. The writing for
Rose was the problem. This Rose was like, okay, then she's doing what she did, like the idea that she had, and to run in there with Finn and do the things that she was doing with Finn, and their whole mission inside, and then R2 getting shot up again, and R2 has more to do in this one. C-3PO has more to do.
That moment with when he gets his memory back, and they screen the flashes of his memory. It's like, can you imagine if that happened in the movie theater?
I know.
Holy
and like,
crap.
And the way that Luke says to Kylo at the end, and again, this is, you know that I'm not a fan of Last Jedi, but I like how this ties in the Last Jedi, right? Because he tells him, he goes, if you strike me down, I'm going to be around. I'm going to be with you, buddy, for a long time. He's not with him in the next movie, in the one that's canon, but in this, he's haunting him. Yeah. He's with Leia. He's helping train Rey. He's around. He's. It's like, okay, he's gotten it back together and he's figuring it out. And then Leia has, again, more to do. Yeah. There's like these visions. There's so much more depth to the overall story of the tying in. It connects. Yeah. Like how it would have been executed. Like for people who are writing, like, oh, it wouldn't have been a good movie. I can't say that. All I can say is if you ask me which story works better, there's no argument.
Yeah, and it's a lot darker, which I feel like is the tone that they were going in. Like the public execution, they do such a better job of establishing the First Order as a full government that's ruling the galaxy in a way that they didn't even touch on at all.
Hux isn't a buffoon. Hux is not a buffoon in this.
What happens with him?
Hux has agency.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
And we can give it. This is a spoiler.
He kills himself.
Yeah, he does. He falls on the sword.
I mean, I think it's Mace's
saber also tying
on Coruscant,
and he also ties it back into the. He brings up Plagueis in this. He ties it back into the. When we say into the first two, 7 and 8, he ties into everything.
Now,
everything. And Palpatine is in this, but as like a holocron.
That was better.
Much better.
Inform me on this. The Mantis thing that Wren went with. Is that a Rebels or Clone Wars thing?
It's from Clone Wars.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet, but I figure like that's got to be something.
It's from Clone Wars. It's a big story arc in Clone Wars, and Anakin actually goes there and sees his future. But he's just kind of, but they kind of wipe it so he doesn't remember it. But like he sees himself turn to the dark side. He sees all this stuff. It brings in a lot, and it tied it in. I wasn't crazy about the ending of the comic where she dies and then she just kind of wanders back up. And then how did she come back to life?
I wasn't sure. Like, okay, so she and Luke and Leia are like, all right, you can choose to return. Yeah, this is gonna be this. This is gonna be that. Yeah. So then we go and we see the ending of this had a little bit of Return of the King. Like couple of endings after ending after ending. I loved that they were training a new generation, but then she shows up. But I loved, was it Ray Saldana?
A name, just a
random name.
But here's this is why when people go, I love the fact that she was just a nobody. Yeah. Right? It's just like that kind of hippie thing of she was a nobody. Fine on one, if you do it like this. Yeah. If you do it like this, where she's not necessarily a nobody, she has a name. You're giving that name purpose.
Right.
That's not a nobody. That's what that means is it's not connected to a Skywalker or a Kenobi. Right. Okay. But just like, it doesn't matter who she is. They're filthy junk traders. Ooh, I'm going to tweet about how great this is.
When I heard nobody, I was like, yeah, you're not a Skywalker. You're not a Palpatine. You're just Sam Jones or whatever.
Now name that of what you just pulled off.
Yeah.
That name now, whatever the hell it is, it has purpose.
Right.
And that purpose, Mr. Anderson. And that is once again why it all tied in. But going into Coruscant and seeing it all worn down, knowing that Coruscant was this thriving, like the capital, and now it's just kind of a dump. And remaining Hunger Games at the end of Hunger Games too. You know, but there was just so much.
I mean, and it ties into kind of Revenge of the Sith with the temple is the beacon, and that sends out the message. And they talked about that with Revenge of the Sith and sending out the message from the temple. And it's kind of, I mean, it ties all together.
There's so much, and it's the iron grip of the First Order has spread to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Only a few scattered planets remain unoccupied. Traitorous acts are punishable by death. Determined to suffocate a growing unrest, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren has silenced all communication between neighboring systems. Led by General Leia Organa, the Resistance has planned a secret mission to prevent their annihilation and forge a path to freedom. All right, there's a lot going on here. First of all, the fact that Kylo Ren is the Supreme Leader.
Yeah.
Again, that's what you were given in Episode 8.
Right.
He capitalized off of that. He's trying to run the shop. The Knights of Ren have more to do in this,
they
too.
were great.
They have way more to do in this. And they actually have names.
Yeah.
Yes, in the first few pages. And Kylo Ren's not just like a emo kid. Like now I feel like he's like a man.
Possessed by the dark side.
He's like ready.
And he's possessed by the dark side, and he's leading.
Bad.
He assassinated the leader, and now he is the leader. And then Hux is trying to find out his own thing and running it. He's not, I am the spy. What? He's like, he's actually trying. He's got a purpose. Yeah. Like all these characters are purpose in this thing. Someone made a good point though, because I was talking about this briefly last week, and someone said, "Well, do you think one of the main reasons they scrapped this is because of how prominent of a role Carrie Fisher had? Because Leia is really meant to do a lot here, and this was written before she passed.
Yeah,
great point. That is why there was. I remember having many conversations on whether or not they were going to recast her.
Oh.
Because that is kind of the only way that you could do that. I mean, now probably you could probably do it with deep fake, but we're talking the deep fake technology wasn't really there, and plus I don't think that a lot of people would have accepted deep faking her.
I think in his kind of breakdown in between the comics, this is what's supposed to be shot in 2016. I think this was shooting or something like. Was that early?
No, because it was supposed to come out in 2019.
Right, but so they said like filming would have started in late 2016. No. He wrote it in there.
Did he?
Yeah. 2016 to 2017 was like the filming dates in that year. And I was like, that makes
2017 would make sense, but 2016, hey, who knows?
I feel like it was more about how dark this was. Yeah. I think it's just too dark and gritty and daring for them.
When you read this and you see it, there's so much that is used.
The duel.
Yeah, but for the last.
Oh, yeah, for the last one.
If it was the second to last one. It does. I don't agree. I mean, I agree with that potentially could happen, but I don't agree that's a good reason not to do it.
No, of course not.
There is like you see like the Jedi holocron or the Sith holocron that's in there.
Yep.
There's so much that is in there that's in the original, or that's in the Rise of Skywalker, and then they talk about that. He's like, yeah, you had to give Trevorrow and the other guy a writing credit.
Writing credit, yeah.
They had to have one because it's like, yeah, you used a lot of our stuff.
They have a writing credit in Rise of Skywalker?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was in his notes. He's like, yeah, the legal WGA, the Writers Guild,
said you had to because there's so much.
Yeah, you used all their stuff. And you see it,
there's
but
just so much more. Yeah, but
through a different prism.
They murdered it though.
Yeah,
they murdered it.
Yeah, they took out like 3
they
parts.
Murdered it. And like
so Lando and Leia stuff was really good too.
Great,
really good.
Yes, and again, Lando has a different purpose where he's gambling at a table.
Yeah,
and he's just like, I don't want to get involved in this stuff.
He's not just some random's like, I was told to expect you. Come into my dune buggy here.
And it's like, why are you there?
Yeah,
he didn't tell you. I know why Lando's at a gambling table because that's what he does.
That's what does Lando and Solo. That's Lando.
That's
Every
what they
time
do.
We've seen Lando. Yeah.
Why is he in a hut in the middle of nowhere? And he's like, oh yeah, Luke and I did that. You've been there for that long?
It's a great city.
He's just been hanging out with these things. Yeah, I come back.
I love.
I come back every 42 years when they have the festival here. Every 42 years,
right.
Mardi Gras.
It's exactly. He shows up for that, and then. But a lot of the stuff when they're rounding up the and the fact that and the fact that Rey is starting to build this legend and the people of the planet, like protect her, and protect her and hear the legend. It was great because it's starting to carry on, and it doesn't ignore the fact that in the last movie they called out for the help, and people were like, okay, well, I heard about what Luke Skywalker did. I heard, okay, they're starting to build against the First Order as opposed to, nah, we don't want to be part of it. Nobody responded to our beacon.
Yeah, because
why did you send the beacon?
Rey in the movie is so just like only people who know her know her.
Right.
And then Rey in this was the galaxy starting to know her.
Yeah, and you understand more of why she has gotten to the place that she is. And we also find out she's training with Luke and Leia.
And a couple of times they do refer to her as the Last Jedi.
Yes.
And I thought that was kind of cool. It's like, oh, that's
because it was
you're
interpreting
your not stigma, your legend is out there. You are the Last Jedi.
Because this is what Trevorrow did again. He tied it into the Last Jedi. Luke said, "You're wrong. Everything you said in that sentence is wrong. I won't be the Last Jedi."
Yeah.
And she is. And he goes, "Okay, that's what I'll use. She'll be the Last Jedi."
Yeah.
No. It's again, I would much rather, and we're going to find out later, I watch Rise of Skywalker than the other one. But this makes me more pissed off at Rise of Skywalker.
Do you feel the entire cast got a chance to read this script?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're probably.
Do you think they? I don't know. I mean,
I'm sure.
I think John Boyega did.
Yeah, man.
They all got that script.
I would.
Can you
So Boyega, when I had the Boyega used to watch Movie Talk, and he watched Council, and when I interviewed him for Force Awakens, he told me he was going to do it. That's before all this stuff. And we talked a little bit because he recognized me when I sat down. He's like, I watch AMC Movie Talk. I was like, that's great. And he was this guy, the light in his eyes. When I saw him for Force Awakens, it's about being in Star Wars. And then I saw him again.
How many years later?
Different person.
A couple years later?
Right after Last Jedi. Different person. As far as
he deserves so much.
As far as the excitement level on both.
Yeah.
I wish.
He's a Star Wars fan.
Yes, he's the one that's sitting in the room when they're talking about the they fly now nonsense. And he's like, you're flying. I say, well, they did it in Clone Wars. He says it. He says it because he knows. Of course, they were flying around. They fly now. That'll be a good bit. Thanks, JJ. Talking about none of that shit.
Well, you got to give him. I give him credit for at least he doesn't look like he's walking through the film. Rise of Skywalker. He doesn't.
No.
Really invested.
No.
That's what I'm saying. As
he's
an actor,
excellent actor.
Oh,
as an
yeah,
actor, he's just like, you know what?
He shows up.
Always show up. I'm not gonna because you do see people when they come back.
No
for
one
sequels.
can scream Rey better than John Boyega.
Right.
When you get people come back for certain sequels, you know they're not there. They're there for the paycheck of the contract. They're like, all right, we're gonna get.
He was ready for it to be over, but he still is a pro.
Committed.
He's still a pro.
100% the whole time.
I just would love to sit and talk with him.
I know.
With the cameras off.
Oh, you know that'll never happen. Well,
the cameras off.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
And
maybe on an interview for something else.
Off the record.
Yeah.
I would want to talk to him for off the record for like an hour and
I
just
know.
be like, how much do you fucking hate doing those?
I would like to talk to everyone, the three leads, all independently, not with them together, and just get each different perspective.
Yeah, and then what you just said, Mike, I would love to hear Kelly Marie
Tran?
Yes, and John's thoughts on this. Because they have so much to do. Because their stories
huge in it. She's huge,
but their stories. This, and I'll tell you, when we were talking about the first one, the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And the biggest point that I think a lot of people actually agreed with us on is that the problem with Force Awakens when you finish it is you just know that there's no plan for the other two, so it diminishes a little bit. I actually think that if this movie would have been made, I feel a lot of people would have liked Last Jedi more. A lot of people who didn't like it, and I'm not talking about necessarily just saying they could stomach it more. Yeah, like where it's like if and I know there's people, by the way, and I'm also very aware that there's people like I would have liked it regardless. I love it. I know Mark Riley. I know. And I get it. And I understand. I'm talking about that significant group, myself included in that, because if this ties into where, okay, well, the first Rose has such a moment and they execute the fact of what she can do in this movie. Yeah. And then if the third one ties in and you really liked the third movie and it all makes sense now because that's what he's like, okay, JJ, you gave me that in 7. Ryan, you gave me that in 8. Well, let's tie it all together. Now we have a full trilogy. Yeah. Now we have a trilogy. Then when you go back and you're like, okay, well, that makes sense because that ties into 8. And I love that about 8. But Luke really has a good arc in 9. And he comes back and he's training with Rey and he's haunting Kylo and planets. Kylo can't get him. That's what everyone thought. Everyone thought that Luke was going to be inside of Kylo's head. I remember telling Ken, I'm like, okay, I hate that Luke died. But if he's haunting him and he's in his head and he's telling him, no, you should be doing this. And then meanwhile, he's training Rey. And I thought it was going to happen. And apparently it was supposed to.
No, and their character arcs would have hit harder because imagine if Luke never got not annoying. You know, you would always hate you wouldn't love Luke's character. That's like Rose never got to be not annoying because
she's written out of the
she was written out of the next movie. Yeah.
And she had to study the Star Destroyer plans. That was her job.
Oh my God! I bet you she saw schematics. The script and was like, damn.
What is she proposing?
What is she proposing?
By the way, I think we need to make a "What is she proposing?" Sith Council shirt.
Yeah, 100%. I would wear that every day.
Just in red. No, just in red. It says, "What is she proposing?" with the Sith Council logo on the bottom.
Yes,
we got to do that. What is she proposing? I wish I would have had it ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, and then anytime someone asks us or trying to read our shirt,
what is she proposing? Because it's so random off like the right side of the screen. He's not even on screen. But it's like we gotta
the entire movie
that shit.
Yeah, the entire movie, Rise of Skywalker, should be called "What is she proposing?" Because nobody knows.
Yes.
The whole trilogy should be called "What is she proposing?"
What are they proposing?
What are they proposing?
I feel like this movie's it's almost kind of like Marcus and McFeely did, or is it McFeely and McFeely, the Avengers guys, with Endgame, how they went back and got
Russos.
Writers.
Oh,
they got to go back and fix Dark World some stuff.
Yeah.
So you watch Dark World now, and they even admit it. They're like, yeah, we got to go back and kind of connect Dark World to it.
Right.
And people have a new love of Dark World.
Well, look at what the Star Wars shows are doing.
Yeah.
Star Wars shows are doing that more so. We always laugh about the dark cloning Sith magic that poor Dominic Monaghan had to say. But when you go to Mandalorian and you go to the tanks and you see the cloning start to happen, you're like, okay, they're setting this up. They're trying to connect. That's what the TV shows are going to be able to do. There's certain things that, maybe, I don't know if there's going to be a line at all of showing, because we know at some point in the comic books that Darth Vader is struggling with being Darth Vader. And there's a certain point where he becomes more machine than man.
Okay.
Right. In the comics, he has visions of turning back, I don't know if they'll ever pull it off because it takes place 8 years after Revenge of the Sith. If there's going to be a way to tie up, your father wanted you to have this when you're old enough, right? That's going to be hard to do.
So you think Obi-Wan takes place 8 years after Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
From what
they're saying. Okay,
I'm
great.
pretty sure it's.
So you're trying to see if there's going to be some of that turmoil.
I just want the turmoil, because that's the one that I don't think will happen, because it's hard to see Vader saying, "Give my son this lightsaber."
Right,
and it's like I just can't imagine that happening. But the loose ends is what I'm talking about. But speaking of Darth Vader, also plays in so well in this script. He is like, "I'm going to do what you failed."
He takes the helmet,
grandfather chucks the helmet because he's like you.
And I did like them using the Mandalorian steel to make his face. They were effing his face up.
Yeah, like
he's becoming a machine.
And that reminded me of Darth Bane, the novels, right? So the Sith, when they get to a certain, and Vader, right? When you get to a place where you're just so consumed by the dark side, you're so gone, you don't care what you're doing in your face, how you're all this stuff that is happening to you, because you're just consumed by the power you consume, and that is what ultimately is happening to Kylo. He's so far gone, as we've said many times over. You killed Han, you ain't coming back.
You don't come back.
The way that they redeemed him at the end here was more acceptable to me, where it's just like, he came back.
Because
he
still,
what
he does to Rey, that blinding with the lightsaber.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
And that was very Kanan style.
That.
It was great.
There was like Kanan, and they've done that before in old school martial arts films too, but when Kanan, that happens too in Matrix, right. So,
but it just was cool, and it helped with the comic because they whited out her eye and the blood, and then
in the comic, for everybody who's like, what comic are they talking
I loved
about?
that they put in, what's his name? Was it Jeff, the Adam Driver's character from SNL, the undercover boss? But he was in the comic book. They had, is on one of the Star Destroyers. They just had one panel of him saying dialogue.
That's hilarious. But so what was I going to say? The comic. If you want to read the comic. So the comic is just based off of all of Trevorrow's treatments, and I think Trevorrow even liked this guy's.
He did, at the end, he posted Trevorrow, and I want to say the other writer liked it.
Yeah. So I have the link in the description, so you guys can check it out.
It's 6 episodes, 6 issues.
Creators doing this.
It was great. It sets this up, by the way, really well in the beginning. The first scene is so Star Wars to me, where it sets up all of our cast of characters.
Yeah.
It sets up the fact
In
that
4
Rey and
pages.
everybody's together doing this mission of every Star Wars mission, whether it's a Jabba mission or the opening of Revenge of the Sith. It's like this kind of this bigger mission that they're all together, and then they have to part ways and do other things for Jedi style.
Surprised, one, this comic didn't get more traction out there, but also
I had never heard about it.
surprised
They're probably
Disney
squashing
hasn't
it.
been after it. Like, yeah,
That's
no,
trying to shut it down.
You ain't putting
probably
that
are.
anywhere.
Well, he's
You ain't
not
putting that
selling
anywhere.
it.
I know he's not.
He's
but even
not
then,
selling
even
it.
though they
I know, but they're not
Disney, man.
selling it. But
They're
that's the
probably
thing. They
shadow
can't,
banning.
there's nothing that you can really do with this because
how is Trevorrow
The question
able
is how it got leaked. I think that Robert Meyer Burnett was one who leaked it. I thought he
the
did.
comic?
He did.
Or the script.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, is like, how did the script get out? Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he got it and
There's
he leaked
no
it 'cause he
way
covered
it-
it.
Only
It's
like
not
a month
Trevorrow's
after the
property.
movie
It
came
was
out.
something pretty big. Yeah, and he had covered it because he
It's
got a lot
Disney
of traction off of
property.
it.
No, I remember
So,
I
like-
read it that night. So
Yeah.
I was like, "Oop."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm always curious how the scripts get out because those are studio property.
Not
It
sure.
ain't
I feel
Trevorrow's
like,
property.
yeah, it's the studio's
Well, I don't think
property.
he leaked it.
Yeah, I don't
No.
think he did either. But he
Who
was probably
knows?
like, "Who's got my
Who
back?"
knows? Maybe he did. You know, it's like the thing is because
Yeah.
remember, maybe he did, and I'm not saying that he did, but I could understand if he did because remember when he got canned, and this is a guy who brought Jurassic World to $1 billion.
Brought it. It's insane. Like Jurassic World to me, I didn't care for
That
it.
movie shouldn't have made $1 billion.
I didn't care for it.
It made
but
$1 billion.
to see what it did, I was like,
Yeah.
Well, clearly he hit a nerve with someone. This guy's.
It made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a movie that, you know, like, okay, another Jurassic Park, you know, if it does well, it does well.
Yeah.
$1 billion.
I know.
What happened?
So, you
I don't
mean
know
as far as how it made it?
I don't know how-
Why with him?
Yeah.
So that's the question. The question, there's a few different things. Some people say, well, Book of Henry came out. They released it. They
People said that was bad.
People said it was bad. It
Yeah,
got terrible
yeah.
reviews, and people said, "Well, Disney freaked out." And people said the same thing that with Wonder Woman '84. That's what happened.
Oh,
with Jenkins.
you're saying what happened with Trevorrow getting pulled off?
That's what they say. Some people say, "Well, maybe it's because Book of Henry was so bad that they were worried that he wasn't going to be able to do this." And but then I say, well, yeah, but he just directed Jurassic World. You read the treatment, and you're going to be there. And you can oversee. Maybe they didn't want another Tony Gilroy situation. I don't know. That's the other
Also, a
part.
completely different type of movie.
Yeah, but
You're
what
only
I
as
think
much-
happened.
Yeah.
What I think happened was that JJ was so pissed off about Episode 8. And people go, no. He said he loved it. Yeah, okay. You ever do you follow politics? So he was so pissed off about what happened in 8, and he then called Kathleen Kennedy and said, "I want back in. I want back in. I want to do it."
Oh, so
and
you think he went?
I think that
Okay.
I think that they knew that they could get JJ back, and in order to tie up, because Force Awakens was for the most part very well received,
very well
did
received.
a lot of money. So what she sees is the numbers. She sees that people loved JJ. She sees that it was safe, and
Yeah.
then she said, "Okay, Colin, we're gonna move you off of this one."
Yeah.
And then I think he probably said, "Well, people are saying that it's because of my movie was bad.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I was going to do," and he leaks it. Now, did he? I don't know. Probably not. But I would understand that if he got it to somebody.
I hate the
So
old
messy.
the old adage. It's like, you're only as good as your last hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
That's true.
He's not coming off of Jurassic World. He's coming off of Book of Henry.
Every
yeah.
Which
artist
sucks.
has
Yeah. It's not- that's-
something
yeah, but
like.
isn't he
that's not
directing the
good.
new one? He's directing the new one. I think
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Fallen
The
Dominion.
Fallen King- whatever.
I
It's
hope
gonna
it crushes.
It's gonna crush. I think it's gonna crush right now. Because people are looking for big movies besides Marvel.
I know.
Yeah.
Besides DC and besides Star Wars.
Yeah,
and,
a lot of people are hitting fatigue with it.
and I think that and when people there's tons of movies, not a lot of blockbusters. The blockbusters is where the theater. Like, so I hate to tell you, Ridley Scott, but the smaller movies, streaming is where you're gonna live.
We're not
Well,
in we're not in the 90s anymore where the
No.
$30-40 million
Like
small
West Side Story. I just saw West Side Story.
mid-budget films are going to survive. They're not.
No.
West Side Story is gorgeous on screen.
Yeah.
No one, I don't think it's going to be a massive hit. I
Yeah.
think that it'll do well, but I don't think it's going to be like it's not $1 billion
hey,
movie.
People loved the talk of In the Heights was great.
but
But
didn't
it
do
didn't
well,
do
well.
because
Didn't do well.
Right.
people don't show up, and also people outside of the movie TV space have to realize, like, people like our families don't know anything but the
Right.
blockbusters.
Right.
Like, they're not out here researching smaller,
They'll
great
watch-
indie films.
If you say to your mom or your dad, "Hey, this movie's really good. Let's curl up with some popcorn and watch it today when I'm visiting. So let's watch this," and then watch Tick Tick Boom. They're not going out to the theater to watch Tick Tick Boom
or Pig. Like, they're
Right,
not. They're
right,
not going to,
right.
but they would watch it from home and love it.
Right, but if the theater experience now is the blockbuster. It is.
Like, I would see Fast 9 in theater because it's so fun.
it's a spectacle.
But, like,
Oh, no.
it's not a. it's not an Oscar
No,
movie.
no, and the Oscar,
Like,
but that's
it's fun.
Yeah,
it's
just
fun.
but that's a whole other conversation for a different time. But it's like, you know, and there is the argument of the Star Wars thing that we get into all the time with people about how Star Wars is meant to be on the big screen, and I disagree. I think that it actually.
I mean, I
think it works on the big screen. I think it's
I'm a
gorgeous on the big
proponent
screen.
of certain things, like, you know, No Time to Die.
I finally saw it. I need to talk to you. Spoiler on that.
Nothing about it was screamed big screen, but I could not see that in the big screen for the
course.
first time.
Yeah.
And I'll buy it on Blu-ray.
Did you love it?
I loved it.
Okay.
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
As of right now, favorite film of 2021.
Was it?
What was
Yeah.
it?
No Time to Die.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
You're a Bond
But
guy.
a Bond guy.
Yeah.
And it hit everything right for me. It
I just watched
nailed
Skyfall for the
everything.
first time.
Skyfall's great. You didn't like
Yeah,
it?
the only part I didn't like is when he randomly had sex with a woman in the shower. Then the lady led him to
It's
who he
Bond.
needed,
It's Bond.
and then she got shot, and no one cared.
Yeah. So that's well. You think that bothered you? Watch some of the Sean Connery ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You think that's bad? You think that's bad?
Yeah, you watch. But
on now.
that's another podcast.
Okay,
That's a big thing.
I
So,
was gonna say
yeah.
though, one of the things that I loved about Duel of
comic,
the Fates
yeah.
in the comic is the whole part where Rey is meditating and like she's getting information about the Force and how we have the light side and the dark side.
Yeah.
It's just like a different interpretation of the Force that I really, really love. That you take what you can
Yeah.
and what you can use out of it
Yeah.
instead of like the old BS ways.
BS.
Yeah, it is like all the Mace Windu stuff was so intense and like.
Even with the saber.
No, I'm just saying like the Jedi Council,
council,
like
the
the
yeah.
way
Yeah.
that they taught the Force was so rigid.
Right,
And the
right.
way that this was explained in using Rey and Kylo's connection.
Read what I'm thinking. A cup, a ship,
Yeah.
a speeder. Like, what?
Yeah.
It's like Venkman in Ghostbusters. Like, look at the card and what do you...
But you know, going back to the Knights of Ren,
Yeah.
Aunt Ren, Jadic Ren, Hatsuka
Like-
Ren, Laurel Ren. They have personalities. You know who they
what was
are.
It? In their ship, and like the one was like
Hatsuka,
floating
that's
in
a
the
sick
gel,
name.
and they were talking to it, like touching the gel. And it's like that was like
they
creepy as
just,
hell.
And then and he kill and one of the Knights of Ren just wipes out one of
knocks
the soldiers right up or whatever.
And then left his body.
Sleeps like a carcass and just walks away. But man, it's just this and the Coruscant stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's so
just
sick.
love the Coruscant. I love the tie-in to everything that they do with
what was
the
that kid's name? Dale?
I don't remember.
Little kid. I was like, that was
Oh, how about the Tom Selleck mustache? And his name's actually Selleck. Yeah, like,
That's what I'm saying.
great.
Like, you go through this again, you're going to see that guy Matt or whatever from SNL.
I love that he did that. But and then they have the different races.
The
that they
Weequays
have.
and-
oh, dude, it's so depressing. It's so depressing. People, you think we'll ever see this? No. We'll never see
No.
this. And here's this scene.
I
the
wish-
voice of Luke Skywalker haunts his nephew like a spirit. This
I
is where-
wish-
hold on one second.
Yeah.
This is where the dark path leads an empty tomb. And where did your path lead you? You're a ghost. I know what you're searching for, Ben. Snoke promised you strength, but you feel hollow. Soon I will be more powerful than any Jedi, even you. And then are you sure? And he's haunted by, he swings back the saber. He tries to take him out. And it's like, he's just absolutely a mess. And then here's the Emperor Palpatine starts talking. Lord Vader, young Skywalker will soon be ours. I have foreseen it, but we must prepare for
But he's
the
talking to
unforeseen.
Vader,
Yeah, he's talking,
which is great.
There you will find Tor Valum. And he has to find Tor Valum, and now he's going to basically go, okay, well, look, Vader couldn't do your mission.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's like, he's trying to pick up and be the last of the Sith and try to pick up that moniker and go in there, and he's just corrupted by the dark side.
Like, and I get, like, so the guy who was talking in his article, and he was like, yeah, like, I wish they would make this, and I don't need to be a part of it, but Disney's not going to make that because it's going to be out there.
Yeah, but how? I mean, the comic?
Like comic, you got Marvel doing comics, so hire a writer.
Well,
but they won't do it because
of retcons.
Right.
Retcons,
And he's like, well, put it as a Legends thing.
Yeah.
But they won't because it's a black stain. As like it admits we are wrong.
Yes,
like
exactly.
I really would love, and I'm not a proponent for this, but I don't know where it will come. Like the Snyderverse and his other film, that should be a comic.
Yeah.
It's done. He ain't coming back. He doesn't want to come back for it. Make that a comic.
Sure.
It doesn't contradict anything you're doing going forward.
No,
it doesn't
and it helps continue the story.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Hire Jim Lee.
Yeah.
He wants to do it. Snyder
Why
writes
not?
it.
Why
make
not?
a trade paperback. You make boatloads of money on that.
It's the only thing is always the what if stories that I wish that they would do because animation. I'm crossing my fingers because what if is working so well for Marvel.
You think they'll do it for Star Wars?
I hope. Well,
it's Disney, so it's the brand now.
I know.
So I could see they would do that
because there's so many great things that they could do with What If. It doesn't have to be anything to do with this, but they could do. I always wanted to see what if Anakin never
infinite
stayed
possibilities.
to the light side.
Yeah, it's the easiest way for them to explore what people want.
What if Luke turned?
What if Luke went to Alderaan and Leia went to Tatooine?
Oh,
There's all those different things. What if Obi-Wan would have went to the dark side? There's just so many different things that you could do.
Yeah.
What if Alderaan never
That's
blew
so
up?
funny because Marvel had Star Wars comics in the 80s. They had the proproperty. So
they used to do those. They've done What Ifs in Star Wars.
They?
Yeah, there's a few of them that
then they should
Riley read them. I remember he had a few of them that he kept telling me about. I wonder if Riley will pick up. I'll ask him what the actual what it was. I'm gonna call him and see. Yeah, I'll call him. Tell him he's on.
Oh my god!
But
on Jazz 94.3.
I know. I'll let him know.
That's
anyway, so we'll go over this a little bit more, and then we'll go into our rankings of the films. But let's see. Do we think Mark Riley's going to pick up?
Yeah.
We do. It's almost 10 in the morning,
Ding
so he
dong.
might.
Yeah.
He very well might.
He's walking the dog.
He could.
Yeah, I like his dog.
He's got a good. Leia is the name of the dog.
I know.
So I'm going to leave him a message, and then maybe if I leave him a message and tell him that he's on Sith. Unless they say his phone number, then
then you have to, or I'll make annoying noises into the
phone.
mic.
Start singing songs.
What
There's a lot of ringing here. You usually go to a voicemail. There we go.
I think you've reached Mark Riley. I'll get back to you.
Record your message after the tone.
There we go.
Simply hang up when done. Or for delivery options,
Shut up, will you?
press the pound sign.
Hey Riley, you're live on Sith Council. At least your voicemail is. Hey, we're talking about the What If comics for Star Wars. I know there was some kind of what ifs, and I wanted to. If you give me a call when you get this, because I want to talk about that, because I remember being at Collider and you're showing me a few of them, and anyway, I forget what they are. Peace. Anyway, anything else as far as this, like what the main stuff? There's the Palpatine stuff, obviously that was played. That would work so much more, and it doesn't negate Anakin's mission.
No,
because by him being a holocron and Palpatine actually being dead.
Yeah, he's not like.
Yeah, I still will say that I always thought that if you were going to bring Palpatine back, you had to play it off of trying to cheat death through Plagueis, and that's ignored. Once that's ignored, then it's
episode 2,
3. Yeah, it's so but it's so stupid that they ignored it. So it made it like people are like, oh, you wanted Palpatine back, not like this.
Yeah.
Or as they say in Matrix, not like this.
Not like this.
And then I love Leia's look, by the way,
Yeah.
in this one, and she's still everything that she's trying to do, and she's running the whole ship, but she's got a big role. So going back to that conversation, I always said I know that, and I'm very aware that a lot of fans wouldn't have been able to. Maybe, I don't know, stomach it, but accept it.
Yeah.
Recasting for the role, for whether it was Judi Dench or
Were you talking with that on Twitter with someone this week about this? Someone in our circle was talking about Leia and the recasting and the bigger picture. Someone in our group was this past week. It was about I don't know where it came from.
No.
Leia is obviously, and Carrie Fisher is bigger than Dumbledore in that character in the original actor, but if you have an actor who is just as good but different, people, I think you like with time are okay with it.
Yeah,
like,
it was just so hard because remember she passed away right after Last Jedi came out,
and it's 40 years,
and she's been so and then the movie was coming out another like 2 years afterwards, and it would have been because that was the question. Everybody didn't know what they were going to do, because I was watching when I did our rewatch for Rise of Skywalker. My daughter was watching with me, my oldest, and she was like, "Oh, how did they do that? Because didn't she pass away?" And I was like, "Yeah, she did. That's all footage." She's like, "Why didn't they cast somebody else?" And I was like, and to a 10-year-old, she'd be fine with that.
Yeah,
but like to people,
to everyone else,
they're
like it's not that easy, and it's also there's the emotional connection, there's all of it, but there is a lot that has to be done here. I love this scene, by the way, where Kylo is getting his face worked on, and he's screaming and yelling, and just all this power. And she does shoot lightning out of her hands in this one, doesn't she? Doesn't she shoot lightning out?
I think so.
Yeah.
In the comics, she does it again, right? Because she taps into the dark side again. Because she's and the lightsaber fights that they have, and
her lightsaber in general in this one is like the double lightsaber.
Yeah.
She didn't have that.
Yeah, and I love the fact that Luke totally assumes the Obi-Wan role in this.
Right, of course.
And he doesn't just appear in one silly scene catching lightsabers into fires. He's actually like, he's there. He's been, from the way that this is set up in the comic, you just can feel that he's been there already, helping her, talking to her, training her, talking to Leia, messing with Kylo.
Yeah.
He's around. He's embraced being a Force ghost. And
That's awesome.
that's not this. I mean, look how big this scene is. This scene's massive.
Yeah.
He's talking about Leia. He's talking about the Falcon and Chewie and all of that. And then even but going back into this, and he plays off of that thing, the hippie Ray being no one. It's like Ray stands and he says, "Who are you?" She's like, "I'm no one." And he's like, "If that's what you actually believe, then the Last Jedi is dead."
Yeah.
And then she looks. She says, "Maybe he is." So that plays into all of this.
Yeah.
Plays into all of it, because then when she gets that name, that name isn't a no one.
Right.
That name is someone's, and it's her. So anyway, all right. I think that's the majority of it. There's this stuff with Hux. Hux is so much better.
Yeah.
In this. So much better.
Yeah, he has
I
his
am
own
this guy.
agency. Yeah. He's still like a joke in some,
he's a
but good,
goof.
like when he like tries to use the Force.
Yeah.
That was
Right.
funny.
Yeah, yes. Because he thinks, because he's around
Yeah.
it, he
Right.
can use it. That's the type of Star Wars humor I like.
Yes.
Because he's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, well, you
'Cause
trying to use the Force?
You would do that. I
What?
would do that, but I would obviously have the Force in it.
Would
so,
you?
Yep.
These
You
covers.
know it.
These
You
covers.
know it.
And I do like how they have Poe dressed as Han.
Yeah.
Because he's essentially taken that role. The council that they have and the conversation about there's no blowing up a Death Star in this thing. It's all about going after the planet itself and taking out the First Order and the government there. And then there's the side of the dark side of what Kylo's fighting his own thing. So anyway, if you guys want to check out the Duel of Fates and see what the story is, you could definitely disagree with us. You could, but Mike, you got to take.
I got a dip, boys.
All right, so you can't give your.
Do you want me to hold off on it? And I'll.
You want to give your list real quick and then
Wanna do
get
it
out
real
of here?
quick? Yeah.
You give your list first.
All right, here we go.
We're going to go to the list. Here's Mike's list. And
You want to go top to bottom?
No, bottom to top.
Bottom to top.
Yeah.
Coming in last, Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Fell right behind on the heels of it. Solo.
Okay.
After that, Rise of Skywalker. Then, Attack of the Clones. Followed by Return of the Jedi.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. And then Revenge of the Sith. So that's kind of in the midway point.
Okay. What number? So give me the numbers as you said.
Now we got my top 5.
Okay.
Now coming in at number 5, Force Awakens.
Okay.
Number 4, Phantom Menace.
Interesting.
It's up there.
Wow.
Yeah. Number 3, and this was a tough one for me. 3 and 2 were tough. Right now, 3 is Rogue One.
Okay.
Then we got New Hope and Empire. Those don't change. But I was going to say Rogue One and New Hope, that would have been a little flip-flop in there. I was kind of like, I could see Rogue One being my second favorite film because I love that film so much. But I think for me, New Hope and how it makes us feel. And again, these aren't what's a better
No,
film
This is
and how
what,
it's
this is what
made.
you enjoy watching.
That's
Yeah.
me when I just, because it's New Hope.
Yeah.
But Empire, nothing's touched it yet.
Okay.
All right, guys,
Get
I'm
out
gonna
of here.
dip
We'll
out.
see you.
I'm gonna listen to you guys, and I'm gonna see what you guys did because I saw something at the top there. Wow.
Mike Kalinowski defending the
Oh, here we
championship
go. Oh,
tomorrow.
my God.
Schmodown Spectacular. You can
Yes,
watch
sir.
it live. Make sure you do it. There is a Star Wars Championship on the line. Who do you got real quick? Nikki DiMolazzo or Thomas
God,
Harper?
dude.
Star Wars Championship. Come on. This is the Inner Geek Champ trying to pick that match between two undefeated rookies.
I do like this the underdog of Dimalat to come back to kind of avenge your little avenge
husband,
husband in there. I do like that.
Yeah, I don't even know how much.
But I'm
the
also
underdog-
should I side with Harper because he's like the me and IG. He's the guy who's been defending it.
He's defended.
You know,
he
and
hasn't defended it yet, though.
No, he hasn't
this is the
defended
first.
it.
Dude, this is the first
Yeah.
one. They're both undefeated rookies. They've never played speed rounds, either one of them.
Oh God,
buzzers.
That could be a mess.
I know.
That could be a
Or
mess.
it could be. I mean, it's gonna be nuts. Anyway, so Mike, get the hell out of here. Mike's gonna be defending that championship against Parker.
See you tomorrow.
Schmodownlive.com. All right, you want to get over there, Steph?
Yeah.
Why don't you get over there? All right, so Steph's going to take the mic seat. I will stay right here. Later, brother. So we're going to try to do a Sith double shot. That is Steph. And let's see if I can get Steph. So as we replace it, Steph's going to give her controversial list in just a second.
Yep. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, it's you. All right, let's just get into this.
Okay.
We'll do it without it. We're going to not have any graphics, whatever.
It's fine.
All right, so Steph at the ready.
Yep. All right. In last place, The Last Jedi. Then Solo. Then Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
Then Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
Then Phantom Menace. And now I believe we're in top 5. So Rogue One,
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith,
Okay.
A New Hope,
Yeah.
Force Awakens, Empire, Return of the Jedi, number 1.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So I will give mine. Then we're gonna go again for everybody out there listening.
Yeah, reminder.
This is just how we enjoy watching them. So if we have to watch these movies, how are we going to watch them lovingly? Or are we going to be like, I can acknowledge this is a good film, but man, I don't like watching this movie, and because of that.
Yeah, it's about also if you go, Force Awakens is ahead of New Hope, not because I think it's a better movie, but because it makes me happy.
Yeah, we'll go back into that was what I want to do with Mike also, but we'll go back into our reasoning for it in a second. But here's my overall list. Rounding out the trilogy here of the three of us, Last Jedi as the last one was 11, so number 11. Number 10 is actually Rise of Skywalker. 9 is Solo. 8 is Attack of the Clones. 7 is Phantom Menace. People are going to think we're crazy putting Attack of the Clones so high up. 6 is The Force Awakens. 5 is Revenge of the Sith. 4 is Rogue One. 3 is Return of the Jedi. 2 is New Hope. And 1 is Empire. So going back, and again, remember, this is after a total rewatch, after we have rewatched these movies and understanding why they are in a position of where they are right now, right? So Empire never changed for me. It's always been Empire and New Hope. There's always been my 1 and 2. There's been no shift at all. Jedi has shifted for me at times. Jedi has been, like, at one point I had Force Awakens as 3rd and I had Jedi as 4. Jedi has now shifted back into my 3 spot after watching them all again, because just revisiting, having that feel. Mandalorian actually, I think, helped also to tie in the overall tone of it. So I think I'm confident with the original trilogy being at that side. It's Rogue One, though, that jumped significantly me into that 4th spot. Rogue One jumped into the 4th spot because it, again, similar to what we were talking about with Trevorrow, ties the movies together for me.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. Has that same kind of Star Wars tone, feel, the way it's shot. The overall adventure of it doesn't rely on Jedi and Sith. I love Jedi and Sith, and that's my stuff I wish they'd bring more of, but it didn't rely on it, didn't need it. There were new characters inside of it, even though they were combining it to old themes. So I think the more and more I watch that movie, the more I like it.
Yeah, like when you were talking about the nobody thing, this is the nobody quality I love. It's all these characters nobody knows, but they save the day.
Right. And then, again, a huge jump for me was Revenge of the Sith. Like the prequels, as I mentioned in our rewatches, I have found a new love for them. The way Ken Knapsack found a love for them. I remember when Ken and I were doing our reviews of these movies, there was only the 6 at the time, back in like 2011. And we were doing it on the pod. It was like the 3rd or 4th episode of the Schmoes No podcast ever. And we were talking about it. And Ken, I think, still was not on the prequel train. And then Ken, after doing like more time with Joseph Scrimshaw, who is a massive fan, started to get more appreciation for it. And I was like, I'm not there yet. I'm there. I've gotten there more so. I still think there's a lot I don't like about them, but there's a lot more that I do.
Especially after Clone Wars, the show,
yes,
too.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's exactly right. It ties it into, it makes it and watching it through my kids' eyes, I think it's more like I can, when the prequels are on, I find myself like, oh, I want to watch this.
Yeah.
You know, and I can, if my daughter is watching it, I'm like, sure, I'll watch Revenge of the Sith with you. So that's why that has popped in there at the 5 spot.
And prequels have a greater advantage than 7, 8, and 9 do because they don't change the ending.
Right.
They're just there.
Yeah, and that's why I think Force Awakens fell so much for me. Because it used to be so high, but now it's at number 6. It's not that I feel like the movie itself is not great. It's just because I know what comes next. And so and it was in my head when I was watching it going, yeah, this is all set up, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like all the prequels, they're set up and they go somewhere. They go somewhere from what was set up. I don't care about, there is some bad dialogue in the prequels. There is some terrible acting in the prequels, but they go somewhere because they go somewhere, like you just said, into the Clone Wars series, into these other things that they go somewhere. So that's why Force Awakens dropped. Phantom Menace went up higher for me because, again, same reasons. Watching it through my daughter's eyes, watching it. Attack of the Clones is one where people can't believe. It used to be very low. It was my last. But there was something about watching it this time around that, even though I feel Hayden's very creepy in it, that I was watching it like an episode of the Clone Wars series and enjoyed watching it.
He really is.
He really is. Solo is actually higher for me.
Yeah, that was surprising.
To be honest with you, I probably, and this might be a little more surprising to you, I probably could put Solo over Attack of the Clones, because the second half of Solo is actually a pretty enjoyable movie. You know what? I'm going to do an addendum right now. I'm actually going to put Solo over. So my new list. See, in the middle of this. I'm going to move Solo.
Listen, anything can happen.
Anything can happen, though. So this is my new list. Empire number 1, New Hope number 2, Jedi number 3, Rogue One number 4, Sith number 5, Force Awakens 6, Phantom Menace 7, Solo 8, Attack of the Clones 9, Rise of Skywalker 10, and The Last Jedi at 11. So, Steph, you want to give some reasoning behind your movement? Has your list changed since the rewatch?
Probably. I think Solo's moved down a
Okay,
bit.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because once you watch all the films together, especially 1 through 9, you can accept what we've gotten and then figure out the things. And the Return of the Jedi always stays number 1 to me because this is Star Wars to me.
Right.
When I first watched all of the films, this especially the age I was at, I like the fluffy stuff.
Sure.
And so it still warms my heart that we got how the ending was.
Yeah.
Empire is the greatest movie ever made, and I always think that, but it just doesn't make me feel as good as Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Force Awakens moves up above A New Hope because when I rewatch it, I remember it brings me back to the feeling of this was a time where we got like Daenerys Targaryen and like the beginning of Arya Stark.
Right.
These were like, for a woman who loves like action and sci-fi and fantasy, Rey was so freaking cool.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, finally. And then I loved Finn and Poe too. Like I was so in love with those characters. I still am. So that stays there. Rogue One, I made an addendum to, moved up before Revenge of the Sith because Rogue One's just such a well-made action film to me.
Yeah.
It is so fun. I would show it to a lot of people who don't like the prequels. When I was showing my roommate, she loved Rogue One.
It's the wine.
Serious.
It's the wine of the series. Like it gets better with age.
Yeah, definitely. Revenge of the Sith, I've just grown to really appreciate what it's done. In part due to Attack of the Clones. And then Phantom Menace is just fun to me. I get what Mike likes about Phantom Menace. It's always going to be fun to me. Rise of Skywalker actually moved down. When I first watched Rise of Skywalker, I really liked it because I was just off such a high of all the highs they just threw on the screen. Then when you start reading all the books and after that's when I really started engaging.
Yeah, what's Rise of Skywalker now?
That is 4th on 11 to 9.
No, it's 9th on your list, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or no, it's 8.
Okay.
Attack of the Clones is.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Solo and Last Jedi. Yeah, Last Jedi is just the least enjoyable to watch for me.
So that being said, top 3, the best directed films. Top 3. I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Last Jedi. New Hope.
Okay.
Best directed. I'm not talking about enjoyment. I'm not talking about story. I'm talking about directed. Those are the 3 top directed.
Okay, I think number 1, Empire.
Yeah.
Number 2, I think Rogue One.
I don't know. You remember all that stuff that happened with Gareth Edwards? I mean, Tony Gilroy. Who do you give the directing to? There's a lot of issues.
Yeah. Then A New Hope.
Yeah.
And then I see what you're saying. Perhaps The Last Jedi.
It's a really well directed movie.
It's really well shot too.
It's very well. It's a really well directed movie.
It's shot and directed in a similar vein as Empire.
It is. If it's a different science fiction movie altogether, it's a very well directed film.
Yeah, I remember standalone shots of The Last Jedi more than I do Force Awakens or Rise of Skywalker, and it's my least favorite.
Exactly. It's so that's why I wanted to make sure that people, when you look at it that way.
Yeah, but, I know. No, we are talking about favorites to watch.
Just what you want to watch.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know, guys. If don't put me through watching that movie again. I just don't want to do it.
I don't.
But for you guys, I know that there's a lot of other people out there who want to. I guarantee you, I can't wait to see everybody's list because that's
me too. Put
in that
the
comment section. This is where we want to get you. You really want to get the comments going here. Put your list, and again, enjoyable, not best directed, not what you think are the best. What do you enjoy watching the most? That's what this list is. So even if you know that, I know that Attack of the Clones is better or worse than Return of the Jedi, but I just like watching it more. It reminds me when I was a kid, I did this. Do it. Do it. So let's see you do it. Come on, put it in there. Let's have that conversation. All right. Don't forget, everybody, the Schmodown Spectacular. One last thing. Let me show you real quick, and here it is.
Don't miss the biggest event in movie trivia history, the Schmodown Spectacular 6. All of the championships are on the line. Lady Justice Marisol McKee looks to defend her championship for a second time. The Outlaw John Roca, the final match in the Outlaw's storied career. Get your tickets now. theschmodownlive.com.
So get those tickets, everybody. Get those tickets. You can get it if you're going to be here, theschmodownlive.com. You come watch us at the Globe Theater, downtown Los Angeles, 12 p.m. PST. But you can watch it on pay-per-view. You can get the tickets at schmodownlive.com.
It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, or patrons, $10 patrons. But Steph's going to be there. Steph will be not only hosting the pre-show at the Expo with Brad Gilmore and Frankie Janish. She'll have a table with the World Girls at the Expo, and she'll also be doing the pre-show right before we start the main show. Her and Brad Gilmore will be doing the pre-show, getting people warmed up, getting people excited, previewing the matches, and that's all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so very much. Thank you. And we are getting closer to Boba Fett, and a reminder to everybody that as we get closer, and I don't even know if we're going to do it next week, but maybe the week following, this show is going to move to Wednesdays because we want to make sure that when that show drops, we get the review out that day and not on Friday. So be prepared for that. We'll give you a little bit of warning. But the other thing is, do not forget, if you're brand new to the channel, please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, notifications, all of that. And also don't forget to Apple Podcasts. We are growing in podcast listeners on this show, and downloads have been done really well lately, and that's because of you guys. Even if you're watching it on video, even if you're subscribed on YouTube, subscribe to the Sith Council podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. That helps us get sponsors, that helps us stay on the air, and that helps us continue to grow this network out. So thank you to Steph, thank you to Mike, and thank you to you guys. We'll see you very, very soon, everybody. See you this weekend. Peace.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus, makes you stronger.